Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dr. AI Academy. Today we'll be talking about Claude. Claude start to finish. You've heard about Claude, but never opened it. Or you've opened it, you've typed something, and you thought that is it. Or you've used it to some degree, whether zero to hero. Well, I bring you good news. Today we'll be touching base on Claude from start to finish. We touch base on different things, a lot of things that you won't see online. How to automate tasks, how Claude can build something for you, and how you can schedule activities without you being there and it runs for you. We'll be talking about 10 different parts from start again to finish. Everything will be demonstrated. So stay with me while we walk through Claude start to finish. So Claude start to finish is what we'll be talking about. And in this video, we'll be covering all you need to know about Claude. Starting with what Claude is, into the interface, then we'll talk about prompting. We'll talk about artifacts and files, what they are. We'll talk about how to customize your Claude for repeated tasks. We'll talk about how to schedule tasks with Claude. We'll talk about Claude Cowork. We talk about how to design a landing page and many more designs that you might want to do. We'll also talk about Claude Code. And finally, we touch base on API integration. So like we promised, we'll be covering these 10 things in this course. Are you ready? So now let's jump right into it. The first thing is, what is Claude? It is simple. Claude is an AI assistant made by a company called Anthropic. Think about GPT. GPT was made by a company called OpenAI. So Claude is an AI assistant made by a company called Anthropic. It is that simple. You type what you need in plain English and it writes, analyzes, builds files and does the job for you. Basically answer what you need to know, answer for your situation, not just the average one, because Claude does a very good job of answering and it does the work with you. In fact, it builds stuff for you. Right now it's advanced to a point where it could do this autonomously. We are going to get there. Now, from here, let's open Claude and see what the interface looks like. Now, you need to go to www.claude.ai. Once you come here, first, I'm not a new user, so I have a lot of things going on with Claude, but basically, let me open up this for you. So this is what the interface look like. Evening Dr. AI, this is where you type in something, hello, and it gives you responses. Okay, so this basically, hello Dr. Makinde, how can I help you today? So on the top left right here corner here, you see new, you see chat and tasks, you see project, you see artifact, schedule, customize it. We talk a lot about this. You see code here. Now let me move myself so you see other things that are here. Here you see design, you see where you see all the things, settings, language. So this is how you navigate this part. So yeah, I just wanted to show you the interface. Okay, so now let's go back to the slide. So we talk about Claude. Now you know what Claude is. Claude has three versions of payment plans. Now first we have the free version, and in the free version these are things you can get in the free version. First, chat on web. You can use it on your web, you can use it on iOS, Android, you can use it on desktop. Yes, we have Claude desktop. You can use Claude free versions for web searching, memory across charts, files plus code execution, extended thinking, connectors, basically MCP. For the paid version, if you're paying $17, that means you have to pay annually to get $17. But if you're paying monthly, you'll be paying $20. And you have everything in this is going to be free. Claude Code, Claude Code plus Cowork, Design plus Science, Unlimited Project, Research, Claude for Microsoft 365. So you can use it in your Excel, you can use it in your Microsoft Word. All of these are things you do with the paid version. That's the $20 monthly and $17 if you're paying annually. I am using the max version, and one of the reasons is because I I run out of limit a lot because of I use it a lot. So if you use it a lot, you are going to run out of usage on time. So everything in Pro 5 times to 10 to 20 times pro usage. So whatever you're doing here, I'm able to get access it 5 times. Of course, I'm paying 5 times more. So higher output limit, priority at peak times, early feature access, 20 times tier is about 200 per month. So this is what the plan looks like. So if you're getting started, depending on what you do, I would advise you start with the free version, and as you proceed, if you have projects you need to do, you proceed on the paid version, maybe in a month or 2, depending on how long your project is. Okay, so we have other versions. If it's a company usage, you want to get the $20 per seat per month. If it's the enterprise version, you want to get the $20 per seat per usage billed at API rate, basically depending on what you want. So I just added this for enterprise that want to use Claude. So depending on how you want to use Claude, but basically this is the price plan for all you need to for getting into Claude Code. All right, now let's get into the models. We have 5 different models in Claude and 1 decision. I'll talk about the first 3, which I think is the most used. For the free users, you get access to these free versions: Claude Haiku, Claude Sonnet, and Opus. You can get access to all of this if you're using the free tier version. So Haiku 4.5 is known to be the fastest and the cheapest. Sonnet 5 is your everyday default. It can do everything at any time you want it to do. Opus 5 is slowest but is the sharpest. So you use this when being wrong would cost you. If you know that you cannot afford to be wrong, all you need to do, click one change in the button, you get Opus 5. Just click the button, you change it to the different model. So I would advise use this. Again, the higher your model, the more time you consume, and Claude will tell you have exhausted your limit. You have to wait for this particular time, so you have to be careful what you use. Now we have 2 other models, which is Fable and Mythos. Fable is still available if you use the Pro version or the Max version, but Mythos is not available. It's limited to some organization. I think they are using they call it Project Glassing. You can browse it and check it out to see. It's just Mythos. It's a very powerful model, hence it is not accessible to everybody yet. But for now, these are 2 other models that you can use. Okay, so now let's talk about the limit situation. Now, if you use Claude very much, whether the free version, the paid, or even the max version that I'm on, you get to a point where you max it out. And how do you max it out? Is it by token? How do you come to realize that, okay, why is this not working anymore? I'm paying for it. Unlike ChatGPT that you have limited access, But for Claude, at some point, after some hours, you just realize that you can't use it. You have to wait for the next hour. Here are the reasons. First, there is no message count. It's not about how fast you use it up. Depends on the model and how long your conversations get. So if you are using Haiku or you are using Fable, the weight is different. If you are using Opus, the weight is different. So depending on the model you are using. So if you are doing something that is of low value, just use the use the lower models so that you will not use up your limit on time. Okay, the next thing is it's reset on a rolling window. Once you check in your settings, once you go to your settings, let me even go there really quick so that we can talk about that. If you come to settings, on settings here, you see usage. If you click on usage, you see that I've only used 6% of my current section. So I have 5 hours limit, right? So every 5 hours it reset. So in these 5 hours, I've only used 6% of it. So I can use the whole 100%, except I'm using either Claude Cowork or Claude Code. We'll talk about that. So now let's go back to our slide. What is the next thing? The next thing is one allowance. You use it everywhere. If you have Claude on your phone, or you have Claude on your web, or you are using the desktop version, or you are using Claude Code, all of these draws from the same pool. So it's not that you are using Claude on phone, is registering the time you're using it. If it's 5 hours, this is putting down the percentage of usage and the hours till it get to reset again. If you are using it on desktop, if you have multiple users, this is going to accumulate in how you get to be limited. That's why you see that at some point you just don't know you are working, you just realize that you have to wait. So these are the other reason. And finally, agents cost more. If you are using Cowork, just know that you will quickly exhaust your limit. If you are using Claude Cowork or you are scheduling tasks, I will show you how to schedule tasks very soon. So if you are using that, Cowork and schedule tasks burns through it faster than chatting. I hope this helps explain what the limit and how we get the limit, how we get to understand the limit of Claude. Now let's move on to the next thing. Prompting. Now, there's no way we will not talk about prompting. Basically, prompting is one major skill that you have in AI. A lot of times we've talked about prompting. Basically, what is prompting? Prompting is asking question, getting the best result out of any AI interface. So however you do it, you want to know how to prompt well. And I will just talk about how to prompt in 3 different parts. First, context, which is basically who is this for? What is the situation? Like, for instance, saying working adults, no technical background, tried ChatGPT and gave up once. That is the context in which I'm talking about. Task, then, which is what exactly should it do and not do? Every week must produce one finished thing. So you've set a task. So no week may be purely conceptual. So every week you must produce one finished thing. Then the last part is format. If you can put your prompting in this arrangement, the context, the task, and the format, you are sure to get your desired result. Now let's go into Claude and to see what we are able to achieve with this same approach. So let's start with write an email, write a welcome email for my course without giving it anything. So I'm just going to let me use the lower models again. Let me use Sonnet and effort. Let me off the thinking so it could be fast. Yeah, I think this is okay. All right. Shoot. Write an email for my course. What course? What's the course? And who is going to new registrant first day of the class? If you cannot point me to detail course name, I will draft it. If you can point me to details, course name, platform, I will draft it. Given the timing, is this for the PL workshop or Dr. AI Academy course? Of course. Now, let's give it the first thing we're going to do. Let me pull this up. Let's give it context. Let's give it context. Now, to give it context, I am going to say, my students are working adults with no technical background. So most tried ChatGPT once and gave up. They just paid $99 and the course starts in 2 weeks. Write a welcome email. Now you see we've given it a contest. Now you understand what we're doing. So here is a welcome email tailored to that audience. Working adult, one bad ChatGPT experience behind them, $99 on the line, 2 weeks. You see how beautiful this is because now it has context. Now the next thing is, let's give it these tags. Now we want to add a tax to this. Let's give these tags. So we write it so it does exactly 3 things. Confirms what they bought, tell them the one thing to do before week 1, and set expectations about how much it takes. No welcome aboard, no exclamation marks. I just do the tags for me. Quite simple, right? Now let's see the difference in that and the earlier email that it just gave context. So in this first one, we add context. Say my students are working adults with no technical background. Most tried ChatGPT once and gave up. Now this one, rewrite it so that it does three things. It confirms what they bought, tell them the one thing to do before week one, and yada yada. Now here is a rundown of what you signed up for and what to do next. How is it different from this? Welcome, I'm genuinely glad you're here. I want to say something up front, blah blah blah. It makes sense. But now we've added tags to it. Now the final one, format. I need this as a short WhatsApp message. So I need now give me the same email as a short version I could send as a text message and list what you caught. So basically this is specifying. This is me specifying a particular format in which I want this. Does that make sense? You see, again, we go back to what we are talking about. Which is context, tags, and format. If you are able to establish these three things, you will be a very good prompt engineer, right? Now, before you believe everything, there's one rule of thumb I used to do is to checkmate my output, to check to see if this output makes sense, if I can query it. So this part is very important. You don't just want to trust it because it's AI assistant. They are liable to make mistake. So it is important that you check every output that you get. So this is one you can use different thing, but this is one thing we want to do. Which part of that did you infer rather than get from me, and where is it most likely to be wrong? Once you are able to establish these things, context, tags, and format, you are very much good. Okay, once you are able to establish this, you are good. So now let's talk about the next thing. Are you ready for this? Artifacts and files. Now, what is an artifact? What is artifact? We know what file is, but what is an artifact? An artifact is something Claude builds that appear in its own panel beside the chat, and you change it by talking instead of editing it yourself. So artifact is basically an output. Once you put, now Claude can generate PowerPoint slide, it can generate Excel sheet, it can generate all of those outputs is what we refer to as artifact. Does that make sense? So again, files is what we put in. So artifact and files. So let's talk about files first. Now you can give Claude spreadsheets, Excel, Word, PDFs, Word documents, photos, screenshots, no cleaning or reformatting first. It just read them directly. Then you can use that to get your output. It gives you two things. It gives you things back: Excel workbook with real formulas, Word documents you can edit, interactive pages you can change. Now all of this that is being done live are what we regard to as artifacts. Now let me give you some live examples of what we are talking about. Let me give you some live example. I have this file that I want to give it, so we can see I'm giving it a file and I'm trying to get an artifact. I'm trying to get an output back. So I'm giving it this sign-ups. This is a list of 40 people that sign up for my course. So basically I want Claude to give me an artifact. I can ask for a design. I can ask it to create an Excel output or a visualization for me, but what I want it to do, where are these people coming from, and what does that tell me about how to pitch in 1 week? Let's first do this to see what is inside the signups. Let's do this and see what is inside. Hooray, we are here. Now you can see, let me increase the screen. You can see here's a breakdown of what it means for how you pitch in 1 week. So this is where the data is coming from. You can see I have from YouTube, newsletter, Instagram, friend, and Google. Okay, so with this, I know that my largest population is coming from YouTube. So basically, you see. So now let's get an artifact from this. Let's get an artifact. Create a PowerPoint slide deck for me to use as a presentation to my team. Now we wait. I can put this together. A quick check. What should the sign up? What should the deck cover? The sign up analysis we just did. 5 to 7 slide is fine. So it prompted me, it asked me a couple of more questions just so understand what I want. Now we get an artifact back. So basically the input we've had here is the files we've put in, and the output is the artifacts we are getting, is what we refer to as artifact that we are getting from Claude. So let's just wait for the outcome. Now Claude has produced us an artifact. You see, week 1 sign-ups, where 40 students came from and how to pitch in 1 week. This is where they came from, who they are, what each channel tells us how to pitch in 1 week. Basically, this is what I want it to give me, and he made it for me in a slide, and I can easily download this and use it whenever. So you can see that Claude can produce an artifact for you, either document, PowerPoint, PDF, you name it, visualizations, interactive HTML. You can get anything you want. So now we know what an artifact is. Let's go to the next thing. Now the next thing here is we're going to be talking about 4 ways to stop repeating yourself. 4 different ways to stop repeating yourself. And the number 1 here is project. The number 1 here is project, which is a folder with a memory. Files and instruction apply to every chat inside of it. So let's go into project and see how do we navigate to project. Once you come to Claude, on the top left of Claude, you can see chat and tags. You see project. Hit on project. Now I have a bunch of projects. But let's talk about, you just click new project, and let's say Claude 101. Now what do we want to achieve? Become a master at using Claude. That's the goal. We want to master Claude. Now we'll give it instructions. How do you give it instructions? Just think about, be clear and direct. Be factual. Add references. Okay, so basically give it some instructions. Come up with something more nicer than what I've been able to put there. So once you do this, everything you do, you could add files, context. Let's say you are working on a research, you are working on a particular research. You can get all your literatures, all your papers, and upload them as the knowledge base of Claude. Does that make sense? As the knowledge base of Claude. I've done a video on GPT, how to create GPT, how to create gem, and how to create project. Think about it, it's the same thing. I'm just again repeating myself. So I'll put the link of the video somewhere here so you can go watch that on how to master project. So this is how you create project with Claude. I hope you are able to use it well. So that is the number 1 way to approach Claude. And not repeating yourself. The second way is skills. Written instruction telling Claude how to do a job. So once you know that you do this every now and then, just turn it to a skill. Turn it to something, right? Written instruction telling Claude how to do a job. Write it once and use it again and again. Let's see how to use skills or build skills in Claude. Now, let's go back home. Now, let me move this here. Let me move this guy here. Once you want to build skills, you can either come through this or just click on customize. Once you click on customize, down Just come down, you see skills. If you hit on skills here, you see that you are able, I've been able to create a couple of skills: lesson plan, humanizer, morning, skill creator. You could browse to see the different skills available for you. You don't need to create from scratch. You can browse and look for something nice that you can use. Let's see this. Doc authoring, let's see, algorithmic art. What does this entail? Creating algorithmic art using p5.js with seeded randomness and interactive parameter exploration. So this is, you know, one of the skill you could use depending on what you want. Let's look for something else. Let's do morning. Render the user's morning brief as a styled HTML artifact, or set it up as a recurring weekday task. Okay, I think this is already there. I want something. Let's do design. Create a beautiful visual in .png and .pdf using design philosophy. So let's install this guy. Canvas design. Let's install this. Now we have this installed. You can see it here. Canvas design. How do you call it? Once you hit on backslash, you can literally call any of your skills, right? So let's call the Canva design. So design web page. Design a web page. No, let's use design a flyer for my course signups. Something like this. So it's just going to, because we already have an existing skill, we do not need to put in all of those prompts anymore. We can just use this again and again and again. Once you have a skill.md, you can use this again and again and again. So let's see what this is going to do for us. So now we have ourselves a designed end-to-end.png file. Let's download it and see what this is. Okay, let me bring up this flyer for you all. So you give us the download, the design philosophy, then so let's see this guy. You see Claude end-to-end, Dr. AI Academy, enroll. Look at this nice end-to-end design. So you can see all we did was create a skill, and we're able to do this. So you can do this repeatedly as much as you want to do it. So now let's go to the next thing. What is the next thing that we want to talk about? The next thing here is connectors. Let's see. So how Claude reaches your apps, calendar, email, drive. So basically this is MCP, model context protocol, but this is made easier. You don't need to code to be able to do this. You can easily click and do it. How do we do model context protocol with this guy? So let's come back to our slide, our Claude here. And what do we do first? We come to customize. We'll see connectors. Just hit on connectors. What should we connect with? Let's connect with Google Calendar. It should ask me some questions. Continue. I'm giving it access. So now Claude has access to my Google Calendar. You could see everything in my Google Calendar. You could tell if my calendar is busy or not, and it could, do literally all of anything I want it to do. So I'm going to say, find me 4 Tuesday evenings in a row where I am free after 7 p.m. Find me 4 Tuesday evenings in a row where I'm free after 7 p.m. Let's see if he could pull up those information from my calendar. So this will tell you when I'm free. I'm supposed to be free all Tuesday evening after 7 p.m. Is that so? I'm not sure, but yeah, that should be the case. Now you could see I'm free August 18. August 18 is next week Tuesday. I'm free literally all the 4 subsequent Tuesdays I am free. So basically I could literally tell it to um put a meeting on my calendar for personal courses the, the same time. So now I've asked it to put a meeting on my calendar for personal courses at the same time. So Claude wants to create a calendar event from Google. So I'm just going to allow once just so you could do this. So done. Personal courses is now in on your calendar for 4 Tuesdays between 8 to 7 to 8 p.m. Let's confirm that. So this is what we have in my calendar. On 18, you can see 7 p.m. personal courses. September 1, 7 p.m. personal courses. 25, 7 p.m. personal courses. So you could see that Claude is able to do this because I've given it access to my calendar. So done. Personal courses is now in your calendar for 4 Tuesdays. Does that make sense? Now let's go back to the last one, which is plugins. Plugins is basically the connection of both the skills and the connectors bundled together, so you can install one thing instead of installing five. So you could also access it the same way we're accessing this. Just go to customize. You see skills, connectors, and plugins. Okay, there are some example of plugins you can browse and use anyone or create depending on what you want to do. Okay, so now let's move on to the next thing. The next thing we'll be talking about here is schedule tasks. How do we schedule tasks on Claude? Now let's go back to Claude so I show you that guy. Now this is pretty simple. Just come to schedule on the top left again. All this you see schedule. We have an existing one, AI news. So but let me create a new one. I could just use daily briefing or weekly review. Let's do daily briefing. What needs your attention daily across your calendar? So set up a task that gives me, so this is doing it itself. Let's see how it goes. So you can automatically use from what you have existing. Is already connected, but it needs permission to. So I think I'm going to do something else instead of this. So I'm going to do something else. Let me go back to schedule. I'm not going to do that. Let's set up manually. Setting up manually, I need AI update daily. AI update daily, and I want it to. So this is youth manually approving some things, but I will just give it access to automatically do it, so it can run it even when I'm not there. Check my Google. No, check the internet for daily AI news and give me a detailed summary. I'm just going to save this frequently Just daily. So I'm just gonna save it. Now we have AI updates daily. So I'm just going to hit on this task. I'm going to hit on this and I'm going to run it now. I'm just gonna run it now. Let's see what this is gonna do. Run. So it's in progress. Let's see this. It's currently running the task right now. Now we have our AI News Digest 2026 at 8:14. So this I get this every morning. Every morning updates. We have AI Daily AI News Digest August 14, 2026. So I get this on a day to day. So that is how to schedule tasks. So you could do it for anything, whatever use cases. I want to see your nice use cases. So these are just regular things that we do. So that's basically how to schedule tasks. You are literally one small job on a timer, whether you are there or not. You just get an update on your phone or your email, however you set it up, to get a daily news. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next thing. The next thing we're going to be talking about is Claude Cowork. Claude Cowork is Claude working through a whole job on your actual file on its own while you do something else. Isn't that fantastic? I'll just tell Claude, arrange my folder, arrange this download folder for me. And it goes into your laptop and it arrange everything. Isn't that interesting? But yes, let's just see how it works. Okay. Awesome. So the first thing to do is download Claude Desktop. Once you download Claude Desktop, this is what you're going to see. You first give it permission and access and all of that. Now, this is what it's going to look like. You have Claude Code, you have so you just come in here, you see what we did the other time, Claude 101, beginning course on AI updates, and so many things. Now, let's talk to Cowork. First of all, give it a folder. So I have this folder, Atlas Workshop, is on my computer. I'm just going to give it access. I'm just going to say, read everything in the folder and give me a one-page summary. Okay. Read everything in this folder, then write a one-page summary of what is in it, anything that contradicts anything else. I'll just let it do its thing. Then I wait. Now Claude has gone through my documents, has gone through the folder, and you know, it provided a one page for us to use. Okay, so this is, you can just basically sit back and tell Claude, do this for me and do that. There are limitations, of course. I'll put in the link for security measures that you can take, and I'll also talk about security measures in other videos, but this is just to show you how amazing Claude is. Now let's move on to the next thing we'll be talking about. The next thing we're talking about is Claude Design. Claude Design is basically the same, using the interface, but this time around it's connected with Canva to help you to design stuff. So describe it, who is it for, what it must contain, and the feeling you want. Plain sentence. Watch it, build it, and change it out loud. Basically, you see everything you want and you get it done. So let's see, how do we assess this guy? How do we assess this? So let's come to Claude back. Let's go back to Claude. Now you see design on this part. Once you hit on design, it will bring us back to its design page. So Claude Design Beta. So what should we create? I have a prompt written. Let me pull it up. What should this create for us? what should this guy create for us? Let's say build a flyer. Let's say build a mobile app for Dr. AI Academy. Let's be a little creative. So now we wait. So Dr. AI Academy, a few calls behind the build. So this is still thinking how to use. Okay, let's clarify this. Let's clarify this. This implies the AI here implies artificial intelligence. Okay. Yeah, the AI here implies artificial intelligence. So now it will give us other calls. So it asks us to connect GitHub and let Claude Design based on what's in the code. So let's say we have a GitHub account that we've already designed something, we just connect it with Claude Designs and we go from there. So a lot of things is getting much more easier. You can do a whole lot more with Claude Design. So we just wait now to see what's going on. Resume lesson. CME Circle still building today, courses to talk credit. So you see, it's building the prototype of what we wanted to do. So these are many more things you could do with Claude Design. Okay, these are many more things you could do with Claude Design. We could come back to see that mobile app, but basically I just want to show you all of this mobile app, slides, documents. So you don't need to build your slide in Claude itself. You can come here and make your design. Documents, wireframe, animations, mockups, resume. All of this, you could do this with Claude Design. So now let's go to the next thing I've put together for this course. And the next thing I've put together is Claude Code. Like Claude Cowork, you access Claude Code using the desktop version, and Claude Code is basically describe, run, break, fix. So Claude is Claude working inside your computer terminal. If you use VS Code, whatever IDE you use, you can just connect Claude Code and let it build. All you need to do is describe. It will run it. Once you have issues, copy the issues, put it back in there. You have issues, then it will fix it. So it's just the loop. That's the whole skill you need. It's just, this is where we talk about vibe coding. So Claude Code does a whole lot with that. Now, how do you access Claude Code? Let's open Claude Desktop. So on Claude Desktop, you see the home, you see code. Once you hit on code, you could then ask, what exactly do you need to build? We could describe anything we want, and you can build a whole lot from this part here. So because I don't want this video to be too long, I will not be building anything, but this is a prompt scoring web page I built recently from prompting. And let me quickly show you the prompt I used so you get to understand. I said build me a small web page where someone types a prompt and gets scored on whether they included context, a tags, and a format. You can see this is it. Include about 8 practice tasks and keep it simple. So it built all of this, and here we are. So you see, prompt scorer, a good prompt usually has 3 parts: the context, a tags, and a format. Write one below and check how yours hold up. I'm just gonna say Hello, I am a tutor at Dr. AI Academy. I want you to design a course on AI for me. The course should, oh my God. The course should be a short one for beginners. Let's just see this. Let's call it. So 3/3 strong prompt context. You gave background or said who it's for. There's a clear action point and you specified a shape for the answer. You see, this is some example. This is one way to use Claude Code. I designed all of this by just prompting. I could ask it to modify, make changes, and do so many things, connect it to my GitHub. So basically, this is how to use Claude Code. You could connect this with VS Code, Positron, Anti-Gravity, so many other IDEs that you can use, for building stuff. That's what you can use. So let's go to the last thing here. And the last one is just API integration. And what is API integration? So this is basically allowing Claude inside someone else's product, allowing Claude inside someone else's Claude via API. So in Claude, you do one thing at a time by hand, but through API, you could do the same thing 500 times without sitting there. So what people build with it, you can either build a support chat, the assistant on a company website, bulk work, read 1,000 documents. You can do so many things. This is for developers. So if you're not, I just needed to put this here that you could literally make a call to Claude from platform.claude.com and you get access to their API and use it to build anything AI related stuff that you want to build. And I believe with this, we've been able to come to the end of Claude. So start with 2 things. Now you know 10 different things about Claude. Now you know 10 different things about Claude, right? You know what is Claude, the interface, prompting, artifacts and files, customize it, schedule it, Cowork, design it, Claude Code, and API integration. Now you know all of those things. All right, now you know how to use Claude like an expert. All the projects you want to do now, you know how to create a project, you know how to use Claude Code, you know how to use Claude Cowork, and many other things like skills, connectors, schedule tasks. So you have all the tools right in your hands. All you just need to do is explore, do different projects, and make use of Claude. I would love to know how you use Claude going forward. So, and also if you want me to dive deeper into any of those parts, you can just ask me in the comment section. Please like, share, and comment. Share with your friends. Let them come to this YouTube channel and watch a whole lot. We have a whole lot like this coming up. Okay, see you in our next video. Thank you. Bye bye.